Doc Rampaggio here with another DKTV toy unboxing. Today I'm looking at Malleus from the Four Horsemen's Mythic Legion toy line. Let's dive right in. Alright, so Malleus comes in the typical Four Horsemen collector-friendly packaging, which is a card that slides out of a bubble, so you don't have to rip anything. The card has some really great artwork on it, and it's got a little bit of lore on the back that tells the story of the Mythic Legions. And then on the front, there's an insert in the bubble that says Mythic Legions, has the Horseman's logo, and has a little bio of Malleus. Packaging is great. I like that you don't have to rip the bubble off to get at the figure, and you can put them back in nicely. But the real meat of this figure is the figure itself. And this is a really great figure. Here you can see Malleus. He is a skeleton guy. He comes with, hand popped off. That's actually alright. This happened last night when I was playing with him. It's also for swappability, but it pops right back on. Still articulates. Get it back in there. There we go. Still articulates. He comes with a couple of axes. Hand popped off again. Alright, so here's Malleus. He comes in the package without these big shoulder pads on, and they do attach in holes in the back. I can pop one of these off for you. Boom. Hole in the back. Plugs right in. I think that's a really nice look for packaging these figures. He's got this spiky collar thing, which I didn't necessarily like. A little backstory here. This figure is actually a double that one of my friends had gotten, and he asked me if I wanted it. And since I had not ordered any Mythic Legions yet, I jumped at the chance. I was not wild about this spiky collar thing. It's not terrible. It looks kind of cool. It's just not my style. But I was very excited to find out when I opened the figure. It actually pops right off. It just plugs in with that. And I think this, honestly, is a much better look for Malleus, for my money. He's got a great skeleton face. The jaw is articulated. Got a little hinge there, which I really like. I mean, if you had a skeleton, they should have an articulated jaw. A lot of movement, which is also nice. The sculpt, as usual with the Four Horsemen, is just fantastic. This is actually a separate belt that you can slide the sword through. And to put the belt on, it's as simple as popping the ball joint there. These figures are very customizable. You can pop them apart in certain places and pop new parts on. So that's always good for any figure line. The sculpt on Malleus is just phenomenal, and every figure I've seen in the Four Horsemen's line has also been phenomenal. The good thing about these figures, if you saw any of my reviews of the Ravens, what was that, last year or the year before, whenever the Ravens came out, I was a little disappointed in them for how much money they raised on Kickstarter. They were very cool looking figures, but the plastic felt kind of brittle and stiff, and there was a lot of stuck joints. There is actually none of that on these Mythic Legions figures from what I've seen. The plastic they've used is very high quality. The joints all work very well. These figures are truly blockbusters, and the Four Horsemen deserve all the praise in the world for making such a sweet line and doing it independently. They raised a ton of money on Kickstarter, and it appears to all have been worth it because these figures came out great. So for accessories, Malleus pops off at his chest again. Malleus comes with the belt for the sword, the two shoulder pads, a sword itself, which has some nice rusty weathering on it. The accessories, by the way, are very durable, they feel like. He came with this long pole axe, a second axe, and these pieces of the axe, because the axe itself is actually kind of modular. You can pop that spike on and have just the one-bladed axe like you got here. You can have two of those, or you can pop the spike off and make it a double-bladed axe. as you saw. And the set comes with enough blades to make 2 double-bladed axes, if that is in fact what you want. So keep that on there. Also, I realized that these bottom pieces are also swappable. So you can do this. Unfortunately, it seems that the other side of the axe does not come off, which kind of feels like a missed opportunity to me on the Horseman's end, because why not make this thing totally modular? So you could have, you know, 3 of these, or 2 of those and a spike. As you can see, I've put the spike down on the bottom. And maybe even these parts could come off, so you'd have a hand axe. But the sculpting's great, the weapons are great, they're nice and hard. You're not going to see any bent weapons on this, which is awesome, because that is a problem that has plagued the industry as of late, with super rubbery weapons. But yeah, I think the weapons are very cool. I think the figure themselves are also very cool. I like the skeletons and the dwarves quite a bit. Put his sword in here. One problem I do have with these guys is the hands, at least on this figure, seem a little hard to... And there goes his hand again. Now, you will have noticed this has popped off multiple times. I would rather it pop off than break, and being able to swap it and stuff makes that very cool. This figure looks great. As you can see, they're very fun to play with, very fun to pose and take pictures of. Hand popped off again. You know, they just feel good in your hands. And I think that this line can continue for a long time because there's a lot of fantasy characters that you can get out of the molds they have already. And the Four Horsemen, being some of the best sculptors in the industry, certainly can sculpt plenty of great new characters. Alright, for articulation, Malleus has the ball joint head, the hinge jaw, ton of movement here. Swivel hinge shoulders, swivel hinge elbows. The armor here actually is soft, so you don't have to worry about that. Swivel hinge wrists. And that hand popped off again. The ball at the ab/waist. You get a lot of nice movement here. Swivel hinge hips. Hinge knee with swivel right under. And swivel hinge feet with a lot of side to side and a lot of up and down. These guys, the joints feel great. It's real fun to move these around. You never feel like you're going to break it by moving it. Just all around a really solid, really great figure. I can't speak highly enough about Mythic Legions from what I've seen from this figure and figures of friends I've played with. When the chance comes to buy some of these, if you want some, definitely get them. This is Doc Rampaggio, DKTV. We'll catch you next time.